How to apply for a K-1 Fiancee visa. This is Fred Wahl, the Visa Coach. Today's topic is how to apply to bring your fiancé to the USA. I am Fred Wahl, the Visa Coach, and I work for you to prepare and craft your applications to submit to U.S. immigration. Sometimes callers ask me, hey, do I fill in the forms for them, or do they have to do it all themselves? Well, of course. I and the Visa Coach team together fill in all of the necessary paperwork and prepare your complete application package for you. And unlike our competitors, we do not abandon you once you submit your application, but we remain at your side and continue working and guiding you all the way on this journey until your fiancé calls to say she or he is on the way. And after arrival to USA, we remain available to help with the future steps at U.S. immigration, obtaining permanent residency and eventually U.S. citizenship. So what is your current situation? You have fallen in love. Your special someone lives far from your home in a foreign land, and you are separated by thousands of miles. And you've had enough webcam and instant message conversations to last a lifetime. You want to end your loneliness and the separation. You need to bring her or him home to stay. So what do? Well, you gird your loins to enter and eventually overcome a complicated and difficult immigration system that stands in the way of your happiness. But fortunately, I am here to help you. And today I am going to explain how to bring your fiancé home to the USA. And please watch to the end of this video, because near the end I will also explain what happens after your partner arrives. After all, after going through so much effort, you don't want her or him to have to leave your side. I will speak about what the next steps after arrival are, what they are needed to obtain, and what is necessary to obtain and keep permanent residency, and the process for your partner to eventually become a U.S. citizen. Now, let's talk about how to bring your fiancé to the USA on a K-1 Fiancé visa. A brief summary of the process is as follows. We prepare an application, and it is submitted in the USA to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS. And then, once USCIS has completed, its review, the case goes to the U.S. State Department's National Visa Center, NVC, in New Hampshire. And finally, NVC couriers the case overseas to a U.S. embassy or consulate near your partner for your partner's in-person consular interview and issuance of the visa into your partner's passport. Then your partner travels to the USA, shows the visa at the border, and joins you here inside the USA for your happy life. Now, let's get into the details. First, we do submit a thick package of application forms and supporting documents and evidence. This is the front-loaded petition that VisaCoach, is famous for. My philosophy, the VisaCoach philosophy, which, we rigorously follow on every case, Team VisaCoach works on, is that success, final outcome, final approval depends, 99% on the quality of your application that you and we together prepare and submit to U.S. immigration. We take every opportunity, leave no stone unturned in making your application as complete and, persuasive as possible. The work or the quality of the work we accomplish at the start of the process, at the front of this process, determines the ultimate outcome. When quality goes in, we expect a positive result to come out. The petition package is mailed to USCIS. Fiancee visa applications all go to Dallas, Texas. And after initial sorting, there's a mailroom clerk there, then the applications are assigned and forwarded to one of 6 USCIS service centers that are scattered throughout the USA. And at the destination USCIS service center, your case is reviewed and processed. USCIS, well, takes many months, often over a year, to complete their review. For current timing, well, it's best that you, contact my offices because USCIS processing times are a moving target. And recently, they have been changing on a monthly basis. And sorry, but recently they've been going slower and slower. Applying for your partner's visa through U.S. immigration is similar, to traveling on a one-lane highway. The cars that get on the road ahead of you must exit and get to their destination before you arrive at yours. And the cars behind you must wait for you to get to yours before them. The only option you have is to enter and get in line as soon as you can. At VisaCoach, we can't help you pass the other vehicles. But what we can do is work to make sure that your vehicle, your application, is done properly, that it reliably makes the journey without breakdown and gets you to your destination as quickly as the immigration traffic will allow. The sooner you get started and the sooner you submit, providing your application is properly done, then the earlier you get your visa. The review at USCIS includes an FBI background check, and this is only on the U.S. citizen's background. However, it is also conducted on your partner if she or he had ever lived in the USA. When USCIS is satisfied with your application, they approve it. But they are really just saying that the USCIS review is over. Now, another branch of the U.S. government gets involved and must also finally approve your case. USCIS hands your case over to the U.S. Department of State for their review and processing to their service center in New Hampshire. It's called the National Visa Center, or NVC for short. NVC confirms which consulate is the one to process your case and assigns a case number that starts with 3 letters that identify the consulate, such as CDJ for Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, MNL for Manila, Philippines, LGS for Lagos, Nigeria, and so on. If the consulate is current on their workload, NVC immediately ships the case to the consulate using diplomatic courier. But if the consulate is backed up, then the case will sit longer at NVC until the consulate advises they are ready to handle more cases. Now, your case has now finally arrived overseas at the consulate handling your case. And now there are many critical steps for both you and your partner to accomplish before the interview. Now, please recall, unlike other services, I, the VisaCoach, and my team are still with you on this journey. We are still with you to answer your last-minute questions and give you final instructions and personalized checklists in the final run-up to, the final interview. Now, soon after your case arrives at the consulate reaches out to you or your fiancé via email, telephone, or postal mail, confirming that the consulate is now ready to process your case. Depending on the country, the final steps to the interview can be, pretty complicated, as consular posts often do things slightly differently country by country. Fortunately, at VisaCoach, We have worked with most consulates already, so we have a history of experience to draw upon to guide you on what procedures need to be followed. Now you, the U.S. sponsor, send your partner the affidavit of support we prepared for you, along with your financial evidence, well, such as tax returns, employment letters, asset proofs. Now, for his or her part, your fiancé collects those documents that now must be taken to the consulate for presentation at the interview, such as police clearances and singleness certificates. Prior to the consulate interview, your partner undergoes a thorough medical exam at a clinic appointed by the consulate. The exam must only be conducted by the clinic that has been approved by the consulate and no other. Your partner can't use their own doctor. At the end of the medical exam, the results are sent directly to the consulate or, well, given to your partner in a sealed envelope to carry to the consulate. On the big day, your partner attends the interview at the U.S. consulate. Shortly after arrival at the consulate, well, she or he is greeted by a local clerk and asked to present all of the documents that the consulate requires. The clerk goes over each item, ticking off on his checklist that he confirms that all documents are satisfactory. It is critical that your partner will be well prepared and has brought everything that is required. Failure to bring even one item, well, might cause the interview to be canceled, or if allowed to proceed, might add, well, months of additional delay until the visa is issued. Because this is so critical, and with proper planning, it is so easy to avoid problems, we at VisaCoach prepare for you a personalized, detailed checklist on what must be brought to the consulate without fail. We prepare this checklist using our knowledge of your background and situation, combined with our previous experience working with the consulate. Knowing what they want as well as what they don't need, they don't want. Finally comes the actual interview. This is when your partner meets with an American consular officer. It is no longer the local hires. This officer will be making the final decision on your case, or down. This is the big event. During the interview, the consular officer must be convinced your relationship is bona fide, not a sham contrived for immigration purposes. I'm sorry to say this, but U.S. immigration has had a long and troubled history with visas for fiancés and spouses. Their experience has not been a good one. You see, for regular immigration, there are simple tests of eligibility. For example, if a naturalized U.S. citizen applied for his or her brother to immigrate to the USA, the eligibility would be simply demonstrated by a review of both birth certificates. The parents' names on the birth certificates would match, and the brother would promptly hear, "Welcome to the USA." But for romance type visas, for the fiancé visa that you have applied for, there is no simple, clear, easy test. Instead, the officer must rely on your and your partner's words, your statements that your relationship is real, not a sham for immigration purposes. Don't get me wrong, I know that you are totally sincere. You're totally in love, totally genuine. But the officer does not know you like I do. And there is nothing personal about the officer's suspicions, because before you, well, the well had been poisoned by the conmen, scammers, gigolos, gold diggers, who long ago figured out that if they convincingly lied about their plans, lied about wanting to be in a stable marriage with an American partner, well, they could cheat their way and win the golden ticket to a richer life in the USA. These crooks make it difficult for honest people like you. Now, because no simple, reliable test exists, because so many consular officers have been tricked and made fools of before, because of their frustration and embarrassment, the consular officers have decided, well, to take the gloomy and confrontational attitude that all romance cases are probably shams, not bona fide. Sadly, they treat you and your partner as guilty until proven innocent. Now, the original application that we prepared and submitted to USCIS long ago at the start of this journey now lands on the consular officer's desk for his or her preparation for the interview. The officer reviews the application while your partner, alone and nervous, is waiting in the lobby of the consulate. The officer searches for clues of trickery, for red flags that might increase his general suspicions. The officer is looking for reasons to deny. And this is why the VisaCoach method of front-loading a petition is so valuable. We craft each application understanding the consular officer's standpoint. We understand, well, as a professional, if she or he is convinced of your sincerity, he or she is going to approve and issue the visa. But we also know that if it is not crystal clear to the officer that the couple is genuine, if for any reason he or she is not absolutely convinced, well, the officer would prefer to deny instead of taking any chances. After all, if he or she approves a scamming couple, the officer's career and reputation is hurt. But if the officer makes a mistake and denies an honest couple, he or she is only being diligent. And the denied couple, well, can always reapply, so no long-term harm done. So what we do is help the officer make the right decision. We help him or her do their job by going the extra mile, preparing your application to make sure it does the sincere, honest, and persuasive talking for you, to convince a reasonable but skeptical officer to trust you and your situation. It would be nice if you could attend the interview and personally be available to smooth out any misunderstandings before they cause problems. But sorry, you won't be there. Only your partner attends the interview. Even if you are present outside the consulate, you will not be allowed in. You remain outside. Your partner undergoes the interview alone. Now, while you can't be there in person, our philosophy at VisaCoach is to help you to be there at least in spirit. With each VisaCoach front-loaded application, we include, well, a personal statement from you that describes how you met, why you were attracted to each other, the development of your relationship, key moments in your courtship, the circumstances of your proposal, your plans for a future life and family together in the USA. Bona fide couples have history. They have plans. Their history and plans have many, many details. By sharing these details, we help the officer to get to know you. And once the officer gets to know you, he or she is surely going to trust you and your situation. For most of my clients, creative writing is difficult. I know it is difficult for me. But I have designed our system at VisaCoach to help make it easy for you to tell your important, honest, and detailed story. We help you tell your story by asking you short but pertinent questions about your courtship and plans for the future. We take your answers given in your voice and prepare your personal statement for the officer to get to know you. This personal, honest statement goes a long, long way to bring the consular officer to an early understanding that you and your partner are two genuine and, well, sympathetic human beings who have a sincere love story. And you could be his or her neighbors, well, back in the USA. But telling your story is not enough. Words alone are not enough. A successful petition must also verify your honest story with actual proof. Once we know your situation, VisaCoach provides a thorough, detailed, but personalized checklist of the various types of evidence that support your application. Your relationship breaks down into two parts: the times you were long distance and the times you were together in person. We help you identify your demonstrative evidences of both parts and combine them within your final front-loaded petition. By front-loading your application with well-chosen evidence, by telling your story to place you there in spirit, well, we are setting the tone for a short and sweet, successful interview, ending with, well, welcome to the USA. About 2 weeks later, the consulate returns your partner's passport with the visa stamped inside. It is usually shipped via a local courier service. The courier delivers the passport to your partner's home address. Or if your partner prefers, she or he can arrange to personally pick the passport up at one of the courier's offices. The visa is valid for 6 months. The clock starts ticking on the date of the medical, not the date of the consular interview. So we recommend taking the medical close to the time of the consular interview, about 2 weeks or earlier. Now your partner has plenty of time to settle affairs, give notice, say goodbye to family and friends, pack, and then leave for the USA. Now, arriving on a K-1 Fiancee visa, you have 90 days to, well, get to know each other better and decide to marry or not. You don't have to marry, but if you do not, well, your fiancé should leave the USA before the 90 days is up and return to home country. Assuming you marry on time, your new spouse can stay in the USA and never has to leave, providing that you and your spouse take the next important immigration step by applying for permission to stay. This new application is called adjustment of status. Your spouse adjusts his or her immigration status from a 90-day visitor to a lawful permanent resident. Now, VisaCoach helps you prepare this application too. Previously, U.S. Immigration was concerned about fraud. They still are. So this application, again, must contain critical evidence of a bona fide relationship. We include evidence of the wedding, honeymoon, setting up a home together, and again, help you write your personal statement, updating what is currently happening in your bona fide relationship. Once permanent residency is approved, your spouse gets the green card. That driver's license size card that proves your spouse can live in, can work, and can travel to and from the USA. But wait, there's more. The green card that arrives shows that it is only good for 2 years. It's going to expire. This temporary green card, well, it's called a conditional green card. At the start of the immigration process for your partner to get permission to come to the USA, well, we had to overcome U.S. Immigration's guilty until proven innocent attitude. The reason that they only issue a temporary conditional green card, well, is because they are still cautious. They are still skeptical about your romance case. And they want one more chance to catch you in fraud. Before the 2-year deadline, well, we apply again to U.S. Immigration. This time we apply to upgrade your spouse's temporary green card to get a permanent one. And this application is called removal of conditions on residence. Once again, to be successful, we demonstrate your relationship's sincerity. Now we submit evidence of your last 2 years of living together in the USA, including bank accounts, written statements from your friends and neighbors attesting to knowing you as a bona fide, genuine couple. Now at the end of this process, your spouse finally gets a regular green card. This one is the one that's permanent without any conditions. And for many, this is the last stop on the U.S. immigration journey. Your spouse has her or his green card and can reside in the USA as long as she or he wants. However, for many, there is one last final step that is taken, and that is to apply for naturalization to become a U.S. citizen. Once your spouse has been a lawful resident for 2 years and 9 months, your spouse is eligible to apply to become a U.S. citizen. On approval, is able to vote in U.S. elections and travel using a U.S. passport. And of course, I and the VisaCoach team are there to help with this very last application as well. The couples Team VisaCoach works with have become our friends and family. We are honored to guide you through each step of the immigration journey, starting from courtship to arrival on visa, to conditional and then unconditional permanent residency, and finally all the way through the U.S. naturalization and citizenship. This was Fred Wahl, the VisaCoach, here to personally guide you on this journey. Now please like or add your comments to this video. Click here to sign up for our monthly newsletter and receive bonus ebooks. Here for YouTube's recommendation. Here for the full playlist of recent videos on Fiancee visas. And here to subscribe to our channel.